Today, you are going to learn 5 simple steps that you can take to support you in having a faster and easier recovery postpartum. My name is Victoria Tippins. I'm a private birth coach, birth attendant of 15 years, and a student midwife. I'm also a mother of 3. And I have found that when moms get their 5 universal needs met, they're so much more likely to move into parenthood from a place of health and vitality and a full cup rather than going into parenthood feeling like they hate their partner and their partner becomes like a roommate, being completely exhausted all the time and struggling with ongoing health issues like pelvic floor dysfunction that often can be prevented or treated. There's something called the 5 universal needs for a postpartum mother. And basically what that means is that if we look at the whole world on countries on opposite sides of the planet, people figured out how to support moms postpartum that followed the same 5 steps. So there are ancient traditions in many different parts of the world where a mother is cared for after they have a baby. And even though the specific tradition may look different, like one tradition might take bark from a tree and put it over a fire and wrap it around the mother, while another tradition uses scarves to wrap around the mother and different forms of heat. Both traditions discovered that heat and pressure is an important part of physical recovery. So if you were to look back at the history of the way we've been supporting mothers for thousands of years, you will see the same 5 needs met in many different traditions. It's very, very cool. The first need is extended rest. This is 30 to 40 days in bed. Looking at all the traditions around the world, they average to be about 30 to 40 days in bed. So that's about 4 or 5 weeks. You can rest in bed. You can also rest on your couch or a rocking chair. The point is that you're allowing your pelvic floor an opportunity to recover. If you're standing up and picking up things and carrying your baby and carrying your toddler, your pelvic floor isn't getting an opportunity to recover. After you have a baby, your uterus is going through a massive shift as it's healing the wound left from the placenta. So the placenta shears from the uterine wall and it leaves a wound inside. When the uterus contracts and moves down back underneath the pubic bone, it's contracting on that open wound, which is helping it to reduce bleeding. If we're getting up and moving around a lot, that can sometimes cause more bleeding to happen. So we need to rest and allow that wound to heal. You're also going through a hormone recalibration, and that means your hormones are balancing. You might have night sweats or hot flashes, which is a result of hormones rebalancing. You may also feel really emotional and just want to cry for no reason, and that's normal in the first few days and weeks after you have a baby. So we need to be really tender and gentle on ourselves, and this is why rest is so important. And your body's also going through a fluid recalibration. So that means that your blood volume that increased by 50% now has to get out of your body through sweating, through peeing, and otherwise. And you're going through an organ realignment. In Ayurveda, which is a modality of healing from India, there's this idea that when the baby, which is your personal heater, leaves your body, now you have all this empty space. And if we don't bring warmth into that space, it's very possible that cold can set into that space. And if cold settles in, it can increase the likelihood of you experiencing anxiety or experiencing digestive issues and more. So we want to rest and keep our bodies warm. I have heard of the rule 5 days in the bed, 5 days around the bed, and 5 days around the house. That is more of a Western take on rest, and that's totally appropriate too. It's important that you rest the amount that you want to, but I highly recommend that you try to push the limit a little bit for yourself and your comfort. A lot of people don't feel comfortable with rest and they don't know how to rest. Rest is an essential part of being a human being. And if you have a positive relationship with rest, your child will build a positive relationship with rest. Rest is not something that we get as a reward for being productive. You inherently deserve rest for being a human being. And giving birth to a baby is a necessary time to let the body rest. There's a time to move and there's a time to rest. After having a baby is an essential time to rest. Your nervous system is, like Kimberly Ann Johnson says, wet concrete. It's very impressionable. So that means we're very open, expanded wide open. So if you're experiencing a lot of stress and difficulty, that can really impact your nervous system long term. But if we can fill your cup with all these positive things, positive people, anything that makes you feel yummy, ooey gooey good, and you have complete permission to just relax, listen to audiobooks, nurse your baby, do whatever you want to do without feeling pressured to have to do chores and pick up your kids from school and all this other stuff, that's going to really support your nervous system and your long-term health. The first 40 days postpartum impact your health for the next 40 years of life. And I 100% stand by that statement. If we are blasted so wide open in a very sensitive place in our nervous system, energetically, and also in our immune system, and we fill our body with stress hormones, and we don't get our nutritional needs met, that can lead to pelvic floor dysfunction, adrenal fatigue, menstrual problems, and also challenges in your relationship or marriage. On the flip side, postpartum offers an opportunity to reset the body. So if we choose to rest, we're allowing the body to reset, and mothers can even sometimes heal from past traumas, challenges that they've experienced in the past, or even some health problems. And this is something that Kimberly Ann Johnson talks about in her book, The Fourth Trimester. And I highly recommend that you give it a try. It's awesome. It's such a great book. Universal need number 2 is warm, nourishing food. I highly recommend getting the book, The First 40 Days. This book is an incredible guide to nutrition after you have your baby. And it was like my Bible with all of my kids. It helped me so much. So there are certain foods we want to stay away from and certain foods we want to incorporate. It's important to incorporate foods that are easy to digest and warm because we don't want the body to expend a lot of energy to try to warm something up. At the same time, we don't want to put anything cold into your body because after you have a baby, you are in a very sensitive place when it comes to cold. It's important that we keep your temperature supported and warm. We want to avoid foods like cruciferous vegetables that can cause gassiness. Be careful with legumes. Some people are okay with legumes and some people are not. It's great to soak them if you can. Try to avoid foods in the Dirty Dozen list that are not organic. Some foods are more important to buy organic than other ones. There's the Dirty Dozen list and the Clean 15. Those are things you can look up and learn about if you want to. Try cooking with olive oil, butter, tallow, or coconut oil. Avocado oil is another good one. Other processed oils like vegetable oil are not good foods to cook with because they can be high in toxins. Grass-fed beef and dairy products are better for you in addition to free-range chickens. Unfortunately, with eggs, something can say free-range, but that doesn't actually mean that the chicken was actually free-range. So I would do a little research and shop local if you can. For fish, don't get anything farm-raised. Farm-raised fish can be very toxic. Only get wild-caught fish. Wild-caught salmon is a very healthy. Next, we want to incorporate herbs that help balance your hormones, that support breast milk enrichment, that support moving the lymph and clearing old fluid, and all the things that the body needs to do, right? Herbs like nettle, raspberry leaf, and oat straw are great to support nourishing your nervous system, supporting toning the uterus, and giving you more iron after you have your baby. I recommend doing an infusion, which means you take the herbs, put them in a jar, pour hot water over them, and let it sit for 12 hours. This allows the heat to really pull and extract the nutrients from the herbs. Make yourself a meal train. And right in there, I request that everyone please only make me these specific recipes. Choose your favorite recipes from the First 40 Days book, take pictures of it, and tell people, hey, once you decide to sign up, go ahead and text me and I'll send you the recipes. You can turn it into a Word document if you want to, but find a way to get the recipes to your community and tell them only to make you those recipes. This is important because sometimes we say, make me dinner, and people will bring you enchiladas that have like spicy food and onion and garlic, which can sometimes upset your belly or upset your baby's belly. Or they bring you broccoli cheese soup. Babies can be sensitive to foods. The 4 main foods that babies are sensitive to typically are soy, eggs, dairy, and wheat. Sometimes babies are okay with those foods and sometimes they are not. But it's really ideal just temporarily in the first couple months after your baby's born to be a little bit more gentle with foods, to eat foods that reduce gassiness for you because that can also reduce gassiness for baby, and to really focus on nutrient-dense, warm foods so it's easy to assimilate nutrition, collagen-rich slow-cooked bone broths, herbs, and foods that are specific to your culture. Number 3 is loving touch. After you have a baby, you have 50% blood volume that increased, right? So we need to flush all of that out. The liver has to process and clear old hormones. So the body is doing a lot of work. Body work can help to move the lymph and move some of these things through. Gentle body work can also support with rebalancing musculature around the pelvis. This could look like chiropractic, craniosacral, or massage. You can see if a postpartum body worker can come to your home. And sometimes there are people who do craniosacral, for example, and they'll come over to your home and they'll work on baby and they'll also work on you, which is pretty cool. You can also ask your partner or support people to give you a foot massage or a leg massage or a shoulder massage and to just give you some loving touch. You might be a little bit more sensitive to massage and body work, and that's totally okay. Also, receiving loving touch directly supports you in releasing oxytocin, which is supporting your breast milk supply. It's supporting balancing your hormones and directly supporting your uterus in contracting and slowing the bleeding. Number 4 is connection with wise women or community. This part is so important. A lot of people feel completely isolated. So I invite you to, in your pregnancy, think about who is going to be there to catch me after I have my baby. Who is my community? Be clear with your community about what it is that you need. Tell them directly. Don't make any assumptions on what they're going to do for you. I want you to be very clear. After I have my baby, I could really use support with meals. Is that something you can commit to helping me with? After I have my baby, I need someone to come over and spend a little bit of time with me during the day on these days when my husband is at work. Is that something I can rely on you for? What days will work for you? We want to be very clear in our communicating with asking for help. And I know that that can feel uncomfortable sometimes, but this is good, right? You learning how to communicate what your needs are is going to directly model to your child that it's okay to be clear and upfront about what our needs are. And they'll learn about that so that by the time they're an adult, they won't have a hard time communicating their needs because they've learned that from you. So it's a gift, even though it's uncomfortable sometimes. If you don't have a lot of moms in your community, I invite you to explore and find a mom group. See if there are nonprofits in your area or a birth center that holds some kind of mom group that you can be a part of in your pregnancy and postpartum. If you join my coaching program, I offer lifelong postpartum support, which means for as long as you need, you can come to my support call and I can help you with breastfeeding, with nutrition, with pelvic floor rebalancing, newborn sleep, and more. Number 5 is connection with nature. This is one that is often overlooked, but is very, very important. After you have a baby, you are blown wide open. You're in a very sensitive space. So I want you to treat yourself like you're a brand new baby. Don't listen to the news. Don't turn on scary movies. Don't take in a lot of content. Don't be scrolling on social media. Try instead to focus on keeping your mind clear and simple so that you can process your birth and integrate it and develop a positive relationship with yourself in this new role in life as a mother. You're going through a lot psychologically, physically, and spiritually. So we want to allow you some opportunity to have quiet and space to relax and process and integrate. When we're around nature, we're reminded that we are part of something bigger. We feel connected because we are a part of nature. You can bring plants into your room. You can move your bed out to an area with a window that looks over maybe some trees. You can sit in your backyard on a bench or a hammock by a tree, right? Think of ways that you can integrate some nature into your postpartum experience. I also want you to think about your space. In your space, you'll probably need to double up your sheets because it's very common to have breast milk leak and the baby pees on the bed and we have night sweats and we're sweating, right? And so we want to change the sheets often. I would get out of bed in the morning, give your baby to someone else or put your baby in a bouncer and have someone change your sheets if needed or make your bed nice and tidy. So you come into a nicely made bed every single morning. That's going to be huge. That's going to be really important in preventing you from going stir crazy. Get a 3-tier rolly cart and keep it next to your bed. You can put nipple cream, nipple pads, your pumping equipment, snacks, water, diapers, blankets, all that stuff in that rolly cart. Keep cans and bottles and wrappers and stuff out of the room. So we want someone else to think about keeping the room nice, maybe bringing in flowers, removing all of the trash, doing the laundry and putting the laundry away or hiding it. Try in your pregnancy to declutter your space as much as possible and organize it so that you feel at peace and calm in your space, not stressed out. I recommend to also get a basket and put your pads and peri bottle and anything else that you might need in the bathroom in that basket and set it by the toilet or on the counter so you can easily access all of those things. For nighttime, it's good to have a lamp that you can easily touch to turn on, a nightlight that kind of keeps the room not so dark so you can easily get up and nurse your baby or change the baby if needed. Thank you for watching this video on how to support you in having an easier recovery postpartum. To join my free Peaceful Birth Academy, just click the link below and don't forget to subscribe so you can access more of my videos. You've got this.